Hey, this is Lisa, your confidence coach for your career. Let's talk about our urges, especially when it comes to things like wanting to eat junk food or wanting to hit the snooze button or wanting to ignore what we've told ourselves we would do, what's on our calendars. And so really what the bottom line message from this video is that the urge is not the problem. And this is important for us to distinguish, and I will dive into what I mean by that in more detail. But I first want to share why this is so important. It's important because when we realize that the urge is not the problem, we stop trying to fight the desire for the chocolate or the alcohol or to procrastinate or to hit snooze. We stop trying to make that urge to do that not the problem. And instead we start to focus on what we can't do. And so that's what we're going to be covering in this video today. I think it will be really helpful. I know it's really helped me in my own life in managing things that are coming up, emotions that come up, and how to respond to them. Okay, so I'll start by explaining what I mean by urge, and then I'll dive into how our urges aren't the problem, and instead we'll talk about what you can do when you experience that urge. Okay. So, beginning with, what is an urge? Well, when I'm talking about an urge in this sense, I'm talking about desire. And for the sake of this video, we're talking about those urges that you don't want, the desires that you wish you didn't have. Like for me, it used to be chocolate. I would come home from school, from work, from anything, and just want chocolate. It doesn't matter what mood I was in. Anything chocolate could fix. Whether I was happy, chocolate's a way to celebrate. If I did a good job that day, chocolate's a way to reward myself. If I was feeling down, chocolate's a way, to console yourself. If I was bored, chocolate's something to do. If it's the weekend and I'm relaxing, it's time for chocolate. You could always, in my mind, find a reason to have chocolate. And there would just be this urge that would come up for a candy bar, for M&Ms, for cookies, for whatever. And so that is how I first really saw how this urge was playing out in my life. Other urges, if chocolate isn't the one for you that's calling you, you could think about any type of food that you feel this need to eat. Like all of a sudden you're just overcome, you've got to get that, whatever it might be. All I can think of is chocolate. Maybe it's some type of cheese or chips or Fritos or cheese puffs, whatever it might be for you. It also can show up in terms of other ways, like scheduling, the urge to not follow our calendars. This is one that I'm working on with myself right now. It's this idea that when you schedule your time, even if it's not like an official meeting where somebody else is calling you or you're contacting them, when I block out my time on my calendar, there'll be meetings with myself. And the urge to just do something else or to continue with what I was already doing and ignore the calendar invite comes up frequently. So that's another place this idea of an urge can show up. And so when we're talking about urge, it's that desire, and it's really short term. It feels like it takes over, and it's not necessarily what you had planned to do or planned for. It's something that in the moment almost feels like it wants to take over. So that's what I mean when I talk about an urge. Now, what often happens is we get that urge and then we think, okay, something's wrong. Why do I still feel so addicted to chocolate? Why can't I just manage my calendar? Why do I always hit the snooze? There's something wrong. I need to figure out what's wrong, why I have the urge to eat, to sleep, to not do what I say I'm going to do, to procrastinate. Why do I have that urge? And we spend so much time focusing on that urge, that longing, and trying to fix it, trying to stop it, trying to get rid of that desire. And that can sort of work. But what you end up doing is setting yourself up to fight yourself. It's like you're in a battle with yourself, trying to resist the desire, resist the longing. Because what we often think is if we don't resist it, we're going to give into it. Like we think there's only two options. You either fight the urge or you're overtaken by it. And so naturally, if you don't want to be the one that always grabs the chocolate bar, You're going to fight the urge whenever it comes up, and this urge becomes this problem. But as soon as we focus on that want and that longing and make that the problem, we actually grow the longing and the want. We make it something bad. We make it into this big, powerful thing we're putting all this energy into, and it makes it stronger, and it makes it harder for us to not be taken in by it. So the secret, though, is knowing that the urge isn't the problem. It's us resisting the urge that's the problem. And you might even be resisting this topic right now because you're thinking, whoa, as soon as I stop resisting this urge, I'm going to start just eating all of the chips or never getting out of bed or whatever your urge is for you. And so what I'd offer to you is that it's not a dichotomy. It's not either you resist or you give in. There's another option. And that option is where the freedom lies. That option is allowing yourself to notice that you want the chocolate, that you don't want to follow your schedule, that you want to hit the snooze button, and allowing yourself to feel the desire. And desire is kind of like a positive word, like we think that's fun. Ooh, feel the desire. And in this case, it doesn't feel fun. It's more of this desperate longing, like this infatuation, like you can't be quenched. That's what it feels like. It's like you want that chocolate so bad, you feel like you're going to die if you don't have it. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you want to allow yourself to feel that way. What will happen is your brain's going to revolt as soon as you're like, oh, let's just let this feeling in and notice what it feels like. Your brain's going to be like, this feels terrible. Either grab the chocolate bar or distract yourself now. That's all there is. I don't want to feel this. And what I'm telling you, though, is if you can practice feeling it, really feeling terrible is what I'm saying, you start to notice that the urge doesn't last long. Maybe 20 seconds. Maybe longer at first. Maybe it's 5 minutes. But you can last for 5 minutes. You can feel terrible for 5 minutes, knowing that it'll pass. Because everything comes and goes. It's like a wave when you have an emotion. Chemicals are released in your body. They go through your bloodstream. And it waves on through. So nothing's going to last forever. And a lot of times when we get caught in these desires, we feel like we have to, we have to quench it or else we're just going to feel terrible forever. I mean, we don't maybe logically think that, but a part of us does. And so what we need to do is we need to allow ourselves to just be okay in that moment. Something that can help is to keep track of how often these urges come up for you and you don't give in to them. And so how often do they come up and you don't give in and you don't just resist, you just allow yourself to feel terrible. And so one way to do that is you can keep a note card and just check off all the times. Or a jar and put beads in it. Whatever it is for you that you can have a visual representation. Because when you can visualize how you're feeling the urge and not giving in and how often you've done that, it starts to build your belief that you can get through any emotion. No urge has to overpower you. And this secret is going to help you stop overeating, stop emotional eating, stop drinking when you don't want to drink, stop smoking if you don't want to smoke. Stop hitting the snooze. Start following your calendar. Start doing what you say you're going to do when you said you were going to do it. So it helps you with that procrastination as well. And so that is what I have for you today. This can be life-changing. I mean, it's what helped me to stop eating and feeling consumed by chocolate and the need to eat chocolate. It's what's allowed me to stop drinking. It's what's allowed me to become a better steward of my own calendar and my own commitments. It's helped me to know how to get up in the morning. And it's something that can really show up in so many different areas of your life. So let me know how this works for you. Would love to hear. The urge, again, is not the problem. The problem is when we resist the urge. So allow yourself to feel the urge, knowing that that doesn't mean you have to give into it. Thank you so much. Hope all is well, and we will talk soon. Bye.